Living Local presents Biz Buzz 413 with your host, Jill Monson.
Before we get started with today's episode of Biz Buzz 413, I'd like to thank our first ever Biz Buzz 413 groundbreaker sponsor, Home City Development. Home City Development has been building better neighborhoods since 1967. Based out of Springfield, Mass., Home City believes everyone deserves a quality home because when people have a place to call home, communities thrive. As our first ever sponsor, words are not enough. And for those of you who know me, I'm not often speechless. Thank you so much, Home City Development. A couple additional quick partner shoutouts. Tiger Web Designs. Thanks for making us look awesome on the World Wide Web. And thank you to my company, Hop More, confidence coaching, training, and public speaking for emerging leaders. And of course, thank you to livinglocal413.org. Welcome in to Biz Buzz 413. I am your host, Jill Monson. As you hopefully know by now, this show is part of the Living Local 413 initiative that was founded by local entrepreneur Bill Cole. We are looking to fuel local success, and we do that in lots of ways with great events, innovative strategies. We make meaningful connections, and hopefully make resources accessible. In every episode of Biz Buzz, we're spotlighting different voices. And every once in a while, we have our special episode, which is Beyond the BIZ Card. And we're doing that today. That series is where we chat with great people doing great things in the 413, business owners, individuals that are in nonprofits. We've got community leaders and a whole lot more. And we'll meet our guest in just a moment. I do want to make sure that I take time to thank our groundbreaker sponsor, Home City Development. We are so extremely grateful for having you support Biz Buzz 413 and all the great work that we're doing and all the great work you're doing to make sure that people have homes in our community. So thank you for that. If you're listening and you have an idea or you want to get yourself on the podcast, please reach out, email me. You can do so at BizBuzz. That's 1Z and then 2. So BIZBUZZ at livinglocal413.org. So as I mentioned, we're doing Beyond the BIZ Card today, and we have a very special guest, someone I've known for, we won't age ourselves, but a long time. I am welcoming Elizabeth Staples, the founder and president and co-owner of The Good Dog Spot. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I am awesome. And we're going to start by saying, when you interview someone that owns a pet facility and has multiple pets themselves, you expect a bark, a chirp, a meow, a something in the background. And we probably will get that, right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. It's never quiet around here.
Not only do you have 3 children and a husband, you have a small zoo. Tell me about what animals you currently have residing in your home these days.
Well, let's see. So I have 4 turtles, 2 geckos, 7 birds, and 1 crazy special needs dog in this house. So it is definitely a full house. So the 4 birds, my daughter actually, she breeds some of them. She wants to be an avian vet. So we actually have a couple little babies too.
I see. And I've told you, I'm never coming to your house. I'm terrified of birds. And you always tell me that the birds are in a separate, I'm like, I'm still not coming. Nope.
Yep. No, they're all in their own room, and you could come. We could help break you of that fear, you know.
No. Shout out the children and the husband. Please give me their names and shout them out, because then they'll be all excited.
All right. So my 3 kids are Grace, Haley, and Thomas. Grace is 12 and totally in love with birds. Haley is 10 and totally in love with theater. And Thomas is 7 and he's all about all of the sports. And Corey, my husband, he also owns part of the business with me. So we live together, work together, the whole 9 yards.
And you still love each other, which I find miraculous. And so they're a beautiful couple, you guys. I'm not kidding. And it's funny because your kids, I've known you since Grace was a baby, and then, watch these other 2 kids come into the world. And now I'm watching them turn into these little people. And I'm going to shout out, all your kids are awesome, and they're awesome for different reasons. They're all very different kids, which I love. But Haley is trying to steal my job. The kid is so creative. She's constantly making these videos and saying, I'm going to use this on Instagram for the Good Dog Spot. And I'm like, hey, kid, stop stealing my job. So shout out to all that creativity. But people probably want to know, to start with, because Beyond the BIZ Card, we want to talk about you, which is why I like to know about the family. Although, Grace is humiliated because she's at the age where she's like, oh God, Mom.
Well, that's why she's never on the videos that she makes. She's does all the editing and puts them all together, but she won't be in front of the camera.
That's so funny. I love them. We like to just make sure we connect what you're doing back to the business so people know, because not everybody, which that's a problem because they should know about the Good Dog Spot because it's amazing. But the Good Dog Spot, if you can share with me sort of the 30,000 foot explanation of your business and, what you do and how you're different, that would be great. Let's start there.
Okay. The Good Dog Spot provides trusted, compassionate care for pets. Primarily in the Pioneer Valley, and that's done in the form of grooming for dogs and cats, boarding for dogs and cats, dog daycare, and also some training. I think we stand out, or at least we try to stand out, by really focusing on individualized care. It's not a cookie cutter model where one size fits all. We really do focus on the individual dogs and the owners and what their needs are. We focus a lot on fear-free handling protocols and methods, and we really work to create a safe, nurturing environment where every pet can thrive when they're with us.
I can say this, and I've said before, sometimes somebody will come on the podcast and I haven't had a chance yet to use their product or their service. I have been bringing my dog who passed away. He had been going to the Good Dog Spot forever. And then we got his brother, Vinny, and Vinny still goes. And we've used all the services. We've had them they did daycare. Vinny still gets groomed. They shout out to the very patient groomers you have. And then we've had them stay overnight. And, I can say genuinely from my heart that what you're saying is so true. Hi, North. That the team that you have created under Corey's supervision, the day-to-day management, and yours as the leader, your team really genuinely cares about the animals and goes through that process to make sure they're not, just putting them in a crate. When they're in a crate, it's because they're trying to teach them a behavior. You know what I mean? And sometimes a dog needs a timeout. Sometimes a dog needs a break, right? And I think that that's a good thing. And you then teach me, so I bring it home. And you just have such a great team. So everything you said is true. Check that out. But you started with one, and you started with this kind of dream, and then it went from 1 to 2. And I was there when this was all happening. But tell the listeners a little bit about how the dream went from you had a corporate job to I'm going to do this business, crazy woman, and to where you are today.
Sure. Well, I always like to say that it started with my mom. My mom told me I couldn't have a dog, and when I was a kid, and I just was like, well, what? So I started working with dogs, and that kind of fueled the whole thing. So yeah, I did take a job in a corporate situation just because, I needed to work, and I was writing a business plan and, not really sure how that was going to go, and found a banker who, kind of put some faith in us and maxed out a couple of credit cards, and we opened a small spot. And before you know it, that actually grew. Within 2 years, we moved because we had just outgrown the space. And that's still to where we are now in our Chicopee location. And then was it 5, 6, something like that, maybe even 7 years later, we opened a second location in Northampton, where we really got to kind of take what worked and what didn't work in Chicopee and, and basically design the whole thing inside. So that was pretty cool. And then, now both businesses run, somewhat independently of each other, but the methodology, the practices, everything that we have set up is the same in either location, just the people are different.
Yeah, I love to, if you bring your dog and you offer cat services, and you did mention that, and I want to reiterate cat grooming and boarding if necessary. But I also want people to know that I'm going to say a lot about dogs because that's kind of the thing that's the day-to-day, and it's fine. I know poor Elizabeth's I hear North, and North's flip it out. It's fine. North is our special needs friend, and we let North do what North needs to do. But what I love about the Good Dog Spot is you have this through line. I've been a marketer for years. You have this through line in your brand about it being like a school. And I love it because when Vinny goes, he comes home and he has a report card. There's school picture day, to school, activities, there's all these themed things around school. And I think as a parent of a pet, whether you have two-legged children too or not, it's kind of cool. I get to have those experiences that I wouldn't have because I don't have any two-legged children. So thank you for that. And I see that both in Chicopee and in Northampton. So
that kind of even just started with, early on, I'd see my friends in my job in their little cubicle with their kids' artworks and things like that. And it was just hey, if we did this with the dogs, all the people who don't have kids and who treat their pets like family would maybe, bring them to work or give them some joy on their refrigerator, that sort of thing.
No, I love it. The activities, the creativity. And I'll shout out Shannon real quick because she's managing Chicopee and she's been with you what feels like a billion years. And, Shannon and I talk often and talk about some of the activities, and you do like paw print art, so like literally on my refrigerator, I'll have like, Vinny goes to daycare, although Vinny has been naughty and he was the naughty kid, the humper. We getting his report card. He's like, Vinny's very friendly, but he likes to hump. I'm like, oh, I got the bad kid. But he would go and he would do like, say at Christmas, he would do like paw print art with like a Christmas tree. And in the past, we had ornaments that you guys had done with like their paw, and so like we lost Max, but I still have that paw print ornament that I will have forever. So it does feel like I'm part of the family at the Good Dog Spot, not just because I've known you, but because I see that with lots of your customers. Anywho, so beyond the biz card, we like to dive in and get to know you a little bit. So one of the things I always ask is real simple. Describe yourself, Elizabeth, owner of the Good Dog Spot, in 3 words.
Well, that's hard because I always our core values as a business are based off of I think me as a person too. So I always come back to compassionate, consistent, and trustworthy.
And it's funny because I have known you as a person outside of your business for a long time. And I would say that is Elizabeth. And I guess if you're listening and considering entrepreneurship, that is such a key piece, right? Is figuring out what your core personal values, how you would describe yourself in 3 words, and how you bring that into whatever vision you have for your business. So do you have someone in the 413 that you admire? And if so, why? Like, what is it about that person?
Well, there's so many. I guess the first thing that comes to mind is like the whole Magic for Maddie team, Nora and Jen and the rest of them, what they've done in order to honor Maddie Schmidt and to help fuel cancer research for children, support local families who are battling cancer, like what they went through. It's just inspiring. I think they've raised over $1 million in 3 years. And
wow.
I just can't even imagine what it feels like to lose a child, let alone be able to deal with your own grief and what you're going through, and be able to have such an impact on other people. And
I love that. And I'll try, I always say try because I never know if I can make it work, but I'll try to put a hyperlink in so that people can find out more if they don't know about the organization. So when you think back, so take that pause for a second and then imagine we can do the old fashioned, stick a pencil in our cassette and rewind. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice when you started the journey of entrepreneurship and the Good Dog Spot, what would that advice be?
I think that would be something along the lines of like, always trust yourself, to trust your instincts, or like my grandfather would always say, like, to trust your gut. When I would say, I'm going to open this business, I heard so much, well, you're young, or you're safer here, or all these other things. And, it's easy to be like, oh, and talk yourself out of it. But sometimes you really just have to trust, your own instincts and not be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes I wish early on I had maybe reached out for a little bit more when I really felt like I was drowning, but it all worked out okay in the end.
And that's why you married a guy who just took you and you're crazy and embraced it. Every day I look at Corey and go, God, dude, I don't know. I know. She's cute, but she's not that cute. No, I'm kidding.
The first time we threw him in a room with like a whole bunch of little dogs because we were just in need of somebody, and we're like, do this, and don't do that. And he was like, okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that.
And if anybody doesn't know, you got to go to their website and see. Corey's a large guy. He's not like fat. He's just a large man. He's tall. He's strong. He's just the epitome of like, what was that expression? Like the brick shit house or the shit brick house. I don't know what that expression, but like, and Thomas is growing up to be a little Corey. Yes. The kid is not going to be knocked over. I can tell you that.
Absolutely not.
I can't picture Corey in the room with the littles, Yep. So if your younger self, not even just at the start of your, business, but your younger self, it could be Elizabeth back when she was little. If your younger self could see you today, what do you think would surprise them the most?
I think it would be the shift from the business to the family piece of things. Like the business was just like my, tunnel vision dream for as long as, I was like in 3rd grade drawing pictures of the pet store I was, going to run or own or whatever. And then that shifted into the Good Dog Spot. And, it was certainly hard, but I think my younger self would be shocked to think that like I was able to, give up some of that control to Corey and kind of let him do what he does so well, and be able to take kind of a back seat in something that was just so front and center for my for a large part of my life.
Yeah. And I that wisdom though, I think again, the person who's listening who's considering entrepreneurship, I think, or maybe is an entrepreneur and considering a family, I think that I don't have kids. So I always say, I can only say this from a third person point of view, but a lot of times I think, especially as women, there's the construct and we're told we have to choose either entrepreneurship or motherhood. And I am not going to even profess for a second that it was easy, because I was there alongside of you watching, and it was hard for you to give up some of one to have the other, meaning, be more mom this day than more boss lady, and vice versa. But you seem to navigate it. And I'm assuming you wouldn't change any of that for the world, even though there's days when you want to throw one or the other out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it certainly was a challenge. I know when I was pregnant with my first, I just somehow in my head just assumed like family business. I'd just be bringing her into work like, 4 months or 4 weeks later, and she'd just be like, here. And I remember changing my first diaper in the office, and I was like, dog hair everywhere, whatever. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. And so it's definitely, trying to figure out what matters most, and then like, how do you make it all work together? But yeah, I guess being flexible was not something that I was very good at, but I've had to kind of learn as I go here.
And I love that. That was actually, you just answered a question before I even asked it, because it was like, probably what's something people are always surprised to learn about you. And, people that really know you struggle with the flexibility, but people who don't know you as well might think like, oh, she's like easy breezy. And it's like easy breezy can also be very stressful for you at times. Yeah. Is there anything else that you think people are surprised to learn about you?
No, I mean, we've touched on my zoo. That's usually what gets people is like, how many animals are in that house? Because, it's a lot.
How many more do you want to have is the question.
Well, if North wasn't such a handful, I would definitely take another dog, because I'd really, I'd wanted to be able to do more dog stuff. I mean, granted, I do a lot of dog stuff, but like, maybe get into sports like agility or, nose work and things like that. And I just wanted to bring me full circle back into like a different area of dog stuff. And instead it certainly did. I just wasn't clear enough in my request. I mean, I'm learning all things about managing medications and behavior and whatever else, she throws at me. It just wasn't quite what I envisioned.
Yeah, when you put things out to the universe, Elizabeth, you need to be more specific next time, just so you know.
Yep.
So before we get to rapid fire, which is our, fun, fast favorites that we love to do, I think the question that I like to try to wrap this session with is, how do you define success now? And how do you think that it's changed over time?
I think if I went back, like initially success meant like there was a certain amount of growth and like checking boxes, like, okay, if we have X number of dogs, we're going to survive another month, or, things like that. And certainly like repeat customers, like, great, they're coming back. That means we must be doing something right. That's really where we were with success. Right now, it's a little bit more about like balance. It's about happy clients. And again, those clients, it's just like, are they coming back? We must be doing something right if they're coming back. A thriving team of other people who are doing this, who are passionate about working with animals and, being supportive of them, having a healthy family, home life. And then I guess really a business that truly reflects like my values and what I think, is important to put out there. That's really kind of success right now.
I love that. And, it's funny because I think often I hear business owners state, oh yeah, I want the business to represent my values. And then the business goes and grows and things change and they lose that. And I think as a customer of the Good Dog Spot, that's one thing that's never changed, even though your role has had to evolve as the kids were little and bigger. And then now the kids are involved doing, no child labor laws, just in case anybody's listening, but the kids are involved doing, their fun, creative things. And you've got, 2 locations and teams and different clientele, Chicopee and Northampton, different clientele. So you've got a lot of different things. But one thing that I've seen remain consistent is your values, Elizabeth. And now what's become the company values have remained the same and grown. And I think that's awesome. So are you ready for rapid fire?
As ready as I'm going to be.
North's like, I'm good to go. All right. No, they're easy. Yeah. All right. So rapid fire, I'll ask the question and you just answer whatever comes to mind. Okay. First pet. And what was its name?
My very first pet was a dog named Fluffy, and he was a West Highland White Terrier that my parents got when I was like 5 years old.
Oh, you finally convinced him?
Well, no, that was before that dog was terrible. It was such a handful. But my very first dog that after I spent all my time trying to convince my mom to let me get a dog, because they got rid of that one when I was really young, was Haley. And Haley was an American Staffordshire Terrier that I got when I was 20. So that's my first of my dog.
I remember Haley. Thus, Your daughter inherited Haley's name. All right, next rapid fire. Are you a sweet or salty person?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I'm primarily a salty person.
All right. Not personality wise, though, because you're definitely sweet. I just don't ask Corey. No. If you could instantly gain a new skill or talent, what would it be?
A new skill or talent? I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm so focused on whatever, doing the stuff with the work and keeping the kids and their schedules. I mean, I don't even know. I haven't given any thought to that.
All right, we're going to circle back at some point in the
right.
future, because this is my Pop More self coming in. I'm coaching you now, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Elizabeth, you need something for you.
Okay.
You need a thing for you. Okay. All right. Next up, if you could have only one pet for the rest of your life, not like a specific animal you've had in the past, but like one type of pet, what type of animal would it be?
Definitely a dog.
A dog. Okay. Get rid of those birds. No, I'm just kidding. What is your favorite local 413 spot to grab a bite or to relax?
I don't get out that much to grab a bite. Yeah.
See, we're going to go to therapy, me and you.
You want me to leave my house?
Favorite place to go with the kids when you're doing something local?
All right. Well, we all love to go to Local Burger right in East Hampton.
Yummy.
Yeah.
You like that? I like that too. So what's your go-to comfort meal?
Something I don't have to cook myself. I don't have to reheat it after everyone else. No. A comfort meal. I love a good shepherd's pie.
Oh, that's okay. Yummy. What's something you've always wanted to try but haven't?
Something I've always wanted to try but haven't. I'm a pretty just, I don't know, boring person, I guess.
You are not. Jump out of a plane, race a car.
No, I want to say paddleboarding because I have a really bad fear of fish, which is a weird thing, but I love the water. And I actually did get out on a paddleboard this summer. So I'm like, actually, I haven't thought of anything outside of that yet.
All right. But fish, now we need, we're going to have to break that down because mine's birds and you make fun of me and I'm like, you don't like fish. I actually met somebody recently who their fear was potatoes.
Really? Interesting.
They don't like the eyes on the potatoes.
Oh, God.
I guess. I don't, yeah. And I told them I would because I never share like client like when a client tells me something, it's in confidence, but I won't share who they are. But I thought that was the most interesting fear of potatoes. Okay. What's one household item you absolutely could not live without?
Oh, the cordless vacuum. I mean, we vacuum in here more times with that many animals and kids, more times than I could count on one hand.
I love that you had no problem answering that question. You're like, cordless vacuum.
Don't know where I like to eat, but I can tell you that we need the vacuum.
And we can all tell that you're a mom who would like a home cooked meal. Hint, hint, Corey, if you're listening. All right. This is the last one. If you had a magic pause button during the day, when would you use it?
I might hit pause like right before the kids come home from school. You got most of the work done, get scooting a little walk or maybe relax with the dog for a little bit before the chaos sets in for the afternoon and the evening.
I love that that's something for yourself, Elizabeth. Yay! Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would love for you as we wrap up just to share with people again, just a high level, just quick mission of what the Good Dog Spot does and the address of the two locations and the website. I will put that all in the chat, but how can people find you and what do you do?
Well, our vision is to be the most trusted home away from home for pets in the Pioneer Valley. We do that with trusted, compassionate pet care in the form of grooming, daycare, boarding, and overnights, and most recently in some training. We're located at 35C North Chicopee Street in Chicopee and 139 King Street in Northampton.
And the website?
The website is gooddogspot.net.
All right. Well, I will definitely put all of that in the chat. Today, we had Elizabeth Staples, the founder and president and co-owner of the Good Dog Spot. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being here. I had a blast. I hope you did too.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. This is Biz Buzz 413, and I'm your host, Jill Monson. I would like to thank again Home City Development, who has been building better neighborhoods since 1967 for being our groundbreaker sponsor. We cannot do it without them, and we are super appreciative. If you're listening and considering being on the show, please feel free to email me. It could be just a regular episode or one of our Beyond the BIZ Card series features. You can email me at bizbuzz@livinglocal413.org. This is Biz Buzz 413, and before I go, I like to say what I say to everyone at the end of the episode. Remember, when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're doing so in such a fantastic part of the country, right here in the 413. Have an awesome day.
Biz Buzz 413 was brought to you by Living Local.